Hello, everyone. Welcome. I am the Maize Mad Man. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, share this with your friends and family on social media, and of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, be sure if you're on mobile to hit that hype button for your boy. Make sure that this video is seen by as many people as possible. Today we are talking Michigan versus Paul Bunyan, the preview, all that, and of course, I'm upset. No disrespect, respectfully, but disrespectfully, it's disrespect. Don't be disrespectful. Those vile, disgusting Spartans, poor little bro them. And I'm gonna tell them why I'm mad. That vile, disgusting cesspool in Columbus, the other state, and of course, as always, I'm upset. First things first, Michigan versus Michigan State Week 8 matchup. Michigan coming into this game with a record of 5-2, and poor little Bronem, unfortunately, coming to this game with a record of 3-4, including losers of their last 4. Michigan coming off probably their best all-around performance from a week ago against Washington. Complete team performance, complimentary offensive and defensive effort. It was a great game. Bryce Underwood also coming off of his best game of the season. That said, let's get into some of the history because that's really what it comes down to in a matchup like this. Michigan leads the all-time series 74, 38, and 5. It's not very close, ladies and gentlemen, including the last 3. Michigan has not lost to poor Low Bronem since 2001. We all know what happened there. Kenneth Walker went cyborg on Michigan. I think he scored 5 touchdowns in that game. Heck of a game for Kenneth Walker, but guess what? He's not there anymore. Kenneth Walker is not walking through that tunnel to face the Wolverines anymore. That means poor little Bronem are going to have to get it off their own, off the strength of their own will, right? And unfortunately for them, they have some abysmal numbers, including allowing more points than they're scoring. Right now, they're allowing about 32 points a game. They're scoring about 27 points a game. That's like a 5-point differential in point total. It's not great. Michigan, on the other hand, scoring about 28 points a game, allowing only 18 points a game, about a 10-point differential there in the black for Michigan, while that 5-point differential for Michigan State is in the red. You see the difference there. There's a difference, ladies and gentlemen. Michigan State comes into this one winless in the Big Ten. That's right. You heard me correctly. 0-4 in Big Ten play. Meanwhile, Michigan is 3-1 in Big Ten play. That loss coming to USC on the road. This will be a primetime matchup. Michigan has not fared that well this year in primetime. They are 1-2, I believe, in primetime, having lost to USC and, of course, Oklahoma in primetime. Their only primetime victory coming against New Mexico State, I believe. So there's that. This, though, is different. This is a rivalry game. Michigan knows exactly who these guys are. They know exactly who Michigan is. It's a lot of guys that know each other, honestly, that will be participating in this matchup, including Michigan safety Jaden Mangum, who was a Spartan, obviously transferred to Michigan last season. The rest is history. He's playing pretty good. I think he started the last game. He probably will get the start this game. Even if he doesn't, I'm sure he will play a significant role in this game. It would be poetic if Jaden Mangum made a big play in this game. I think he will, but we'll see what happens. Outside of that, outside of the historics, the record historically, where this game is played, the recent history, all of those things out the window now. Let's get to the actual breakdown of the game. Michigan is 14.5-point favorites. That's right. They come into this game 14.5-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5 points. So if you bet over that, obviously, or, whatever. If you want to bet over that, you win. If you bet under it, you win if they don't score 48, right? 47, I'm sorry. So there you go. If you bet over, they have to score 48. You bet under, they have to score 47 or less. 48 or more for the over, 47 or less for the under. With that said, I'm going to give my prediction at the end, but take this time to drop your prediction in the comment section. What do you think the final score of this game will be? Michigan versus Michigan State. Talk to me in the comment section. Let's talk about some of the key players in this game. Obviously, we know Bryce Underwood, Michigan man, born and raised in the state of Michigan, right down the road, went to Belleville High School, is an absolute stud. The number one player in the class of 2025. He is now the starting quarterback for the University of Michigan and is looking quite good in the role, by the way. Bryce Underwood coming off his best game a week ago against Washington, 2 touchdowns in that game, threw for over 200 yards in that game, 21 of 27, very, very efficient in that game. Can't complain about anything we saw from Bryce Underwood in that game versus Washington. Let's talk about his stats on the season, though. For the season, he's completing 62% of his passes, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions, has a 8-yard per attempt average, and is averaging 205 pass yards per game with a rating of 139.8. Not too shabby, right? But let's talk about his opposition, the opposing quarterback, Aidan Chiles, and his stats on the season. Aidan Chiles comes into this one leading a 3-4 team, 0-4 in the Big Ten, 0-4 in their last 4. But for him this season, he's completing 65% of his passes, 1,262 yards, 10 touchdowns. He has 3 interceptions. He averages 7.2 yards per attempt, 180 yards per game, and a 141 rating. So his rating a little higher than Bryce's. He's throwing for less yards, averages less yards per attempt. He is completing a little bit better. His completion percentage is a little bit better than Bryce's. But surprisingly, if you ask me, his yards he's thrown for less yards than Bryce, which is pretty surprising. He does have more touchdowns, however, and also has 1 more interception. So in terms of the quarterbacks, whatever, however you want to break that down, give me Bryce, though. No question about it. Give me Bryce. Let's move on to wide receiver. Nick Marsh, you're going to hear his name a lot, all right? He is a Detroit product. Absolute stud at wide receiver. I actually wanted Nick Marsh. I did plenty of videos in the 2024 class about Nick Marsh and wanting to have Nick Marsh as a Wolverine. Unfortunately, it didn't shake out that way for us. But Nick Marsh, only 19 years old, all right? Still very young, an absolute stud in his own right. Let's talk about some of his stats on the season. He is coming into this game with 404 yards receiving on 35 receptions, 11.2 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. Pretty good. 1 rush for 6 yards this season. Last season, he only had 3 touchdowns, but he also caught 649 yards worth of balls in his true freshman season. Now in his sophomore season, 400 for 5 touchdowns. We know that there's been a little bit of tumult, if you will, between Nick Marsh and Aidan Chiles. We've seen them get into it multiple times on the sideline, whether or not, those guys don't like each other. I'm not going to go that far. It is the heat of battle. Sometimes when you're in the middle of it, in terms of playing the game, things get a little heated. But Michigan has a Marsh of their own. Young Andrew Marsh, the true freshman out of Texas, has been coming up big for the Wolverines over the last 3 games, including last game for the season. He has 18 receptions, 297 yards. He leads the team in yards per receptions with 16.5. He has 2 touchdowns, 1 rushing attempt for 23 yards and a touchdown there. 3 touchdowns for young Andrew Marsh on the season. And really, that's like that's 3 games worth of stats right there, really. Only the last 3 games, really, he has gotten in and contributed, and he's been a bright spot for Michigan, obviously. Another thing to watch out for, let's talk about a bit of injury news. Michigan running back Justice Haynes, there's no word yet on whether or not he will play in this game, let alone start. I don't think Michigan necessarily needs Justice Haynes to play in this game, but if he does, then it just would make it that much worse for Sparty. But if he doesn't, Jordan Marshall is more than enough, in my opinion. We saw what Jordan could do last week, 25 carries, over 100 yards against Washington. Tough, hard runner. Absolute stud in his own right, out of Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati Moeller. Jordan Marshall, former Mr. Ohio, is going to be just fine in Michigan's backfield. Again, another injury update. Evan Link went out in the game against Washington. However, my guy Blake Frazier stepped up big time in his absence. According to PFF, Blake Frazier gave up no pressures, but honestly, PFF got it wrong because the first play that he was in there, we saw him get put on his butt and the pressure actually get it to Bryce, or actually force Bryce out of the pocket. He didn't get to him, but either way, after that, he played flawlessly. So Blake Frazier, if he can repeat a performance like that, it could be a long night for Sparty. Let me know what you think. On the defensive side, Derek Moore had his best game of the season with 2 sacks. I think he follows that up, gets himself another sack at least. The secondary played well. The linebackers were the MVP of the game, in my opinion, against Washington. Rolder with an interception. There was Sullivan with an interception. Hausman, before he got banged up, was having his best game of the season. I think Michigan's linebackers show out again in this one. Let me know in the comment section what you think. I'm going to go ahead and give my score prediction now. I think Michigan wins this game 37-13. 37-13 for Michigan. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Obviously, like the video if you haven't already. Share the video if you haven't already. Become a member if you haven't already. And hit that hype button if you're on mobile. Until next time, you know the slogan. Follow me everywhere at Maize Madman. Stay angry, my friends. I'm upset.
Ladies and gentlemen, this might be our best season ever. My ratings, they're about to go through the roof.
All right, now I'ma calm down. So I just don't get that all that Maize and that lock and all that puff. I just don't get it. And how the
Oh my God, we're shutting the damn live down. Good night, everybody.